And today we're here to celebrate or talk about the holidays as that season is getting into full swing and how the holidays impact your business and a little bit what it tells about you in terms of how serious you are about your business, or maybe not so much. Christine, what do you think of the holidays? Is it true that business slows down or comes to a halt between November and the end of December? What's your view on that? What's your experience?
Well, it's one of those situations, Barbara, where people say, "Well, that's just the way it is." And it's one of I don't know if you've heard me say it before, but I don't like when people say that's just the way it is. And I think it is all too common for especially business to businesses to say that, well, it's just the way it is that business slows down over the holidays. And yes, and I'm saying that much more than the but. It's kind of, it is because we make it that way.
Good point.
You can choose to participate or not, and I know I'm not the first person to use those words, but yeah, you can choose to participate or not. But I think, we all need to look at, do we wanna allow it to happen to our business or not? Because then when you do really slow down and pull back, it's kinda like restarting again then after the holidays. But I mean, there's so many aspects to this conversation, I think. Um,
That's an interesting point of view that when you really pull back, if you just step back from your business almost totally, you really do have to take some time getting back on your starting
mhm,
blocks. It's like when you break the zone, even in a morning or an afternoon or a whole work day, and you're going great guns on a project and something interrupts you. It takes a bit of time to get back in the swing. I have found whether working corporately or in my own business, which is a professional services business like yours, that is B2B and supports other businesses, it can get very busy over the holidays because people have certain goals to
mm.
get things done before year end. And in some cases, they're even making up for lost time. In those situations, it's not always easy to take a break for the holidays preparation and celebration. There's not as much of an opportunity to be liberal with your time doing that. Do you find that as well, Christine?
That's true, and that's, I like that you brought that up about some people are looking to get some things off their plate, before the end of the year, get some things off their to-do list and accomplish some things. And I think when you're really in touch with your financials with your business, sometimes your accountant might be saying, well, you got a little bit too much money here, so let's look at how we can, reduce things. I don't even want to go there, and I don't want I'm not saying I want to go there in this conversation, but when you look at there are things that people are looking at doing come the end of the year. So again, yeah, some businesses slow down. I remember a woman, I think it was financial services the one time, and just said, well, that's just the way it is with financial services. Everything really slows down at this time of the year. But I wanted to bring up also, Barbara, the fact of it slows down for the holidays. We got Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up and whatnot. Oh, and then we get started again. Oh, and before you know it, summer is upon us. Well, things slow down over the summer. And then you start getting going, oh, well, things slow down in September when the kids go back to school. So there's all these times throughout the year. Now the one we're coming up on, is the big one with 2 months here with some major holidays for us, at least here in the states. But you have to decide. for yourself. And you were mentioning this earlier about something you had done in the past with your business and deciding how much time you wanted to put into work versus your holiday with your family, and really having to think about it, and creating that balance for yourself. And we're all different, where we are in our lives of how much of a holiday do we celebrate? Like for me, it's not a huge thing because my kids are grown. There are no grandkids. And it's not a huge thing for me. So I don't take as much time for holiday things with family, whereas, you might, and others might. So it's finding that balance, but to keep things going. And it's not just about the sales either. It's like you had said, about other things in your business. Are there things you need to be working on? Regardless of whether you're outsourcing or not, are there other things to be doing to keep things going? Um,
So, it's funny that you mention, well, you allude to time of our lives. And so I do have a grandchild. Um, so she's 10, but there's definitely a lot of activity around that. And we are very family oriented and getting both sides of the family together and celebrating. But when my kids were young, there was much more hoopla. There were programs at
mhm.
school. There were Christmas parties that involved whole families, other kids and their parents. Um, I remember a favorite party that we went to was a Christmas carol sing hosted by a family, where the husband was Jewish and the wife was Catholic. And the husband just loved Christmas carols. And they lived in this beautiful farmhouse, and it was all decorated for Christmas. And we all gathered there about a week or so before and sang Christmas carols. And he dressed in elf shoes. It's a very pleasant memory. So I don't have all that kind of stuff filling my life. And I've had times when there's been a lot of business work at Christmas, and I've devoted more time to work maybe than the holiday. And sometimes I felt a little cheated. But as time has gone on, I've gotten smart. And yes, about recognizing the need for balance and figuring that out, really plotting out my day. When am I going to go shopping to buy other people gifts? When am I going to go get the food in case I'm the one that has to cook the holiday dinner? When am I going to finish that website content that a client needs a week before the holiday? So you really do have to be thoughtful about how you approach the holidays if you want it to be a successful time. The other thing, if you find that the holidays do slow things down, to your point, Christine, it's not just about bringing in more revenue, but what a wonderful opportunity to take the time to do some internal things that you may have to work on that will benefit your business in the days and the years to come. To take maybe some downtime and work on the business instead of just in it. Did I say that right? In the business instead of on the business. I always get those two things mixed up, but you know what I mean, I think.
Right.
To
Yeah,
do
well, and
internal
yeah,
things to progress.
it's the two, it's multiple things of this time of year. Yes, we wanna continue making sales, and I think you have to remember too with that there are people out there willing to buy. And again, here again, not everybody celebrates the holidays and they just keep working. There's a large portion of the population that does that. Just because it's Thanksgiving and Christmas, doesn't mean that every person on the earth is celebrating those things. It's not. So you have to remember there are people still out there looking for what you have. And if you position things well, maybe they'll be finding you. Another thing you could do is to have evergreen products for sale. Maybe a course that you have that as long as you're promoting it, you could make a sale on Thanksgiving Day and you didn't even do anything because somebody found it on your website. Uh,
And instead of watching one of those football games that are on, they wanted to take a little time before or after turkey to to learn something new. So that's a good idea. And you use the word product, and think about businesses who manufacture and sell products. Just the other day, I was reading an article about online about the 60 greatest products that you should buy for friends or family that can help change their lives. And there's no better time than this season, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah or even going to someone's house on Thanksgiving, that you need to bring a gift. And how cool to bring a clever product from one entrepreneurial company. So there are a lot of different ways to spin it, actually.
mhm. Yeah, and think about, well, I want our listeners to write this one and remember, the tech tools that we all need to be using, maybe there's something that you're thinking about. And so I always say if there's a free plan, start with the free plan and read your emails. And with that Black Friday coming up, there will be a lot of special offers on things. And not just on tech tools, but many of us who provide services maybe are going to hold a Black Friday special uh, to offer our audience. So there too, we as the seller, we're looking at, well, what can we be doing to make some sales, but then also looking at it from the other viewpoint of the buyer. And what is it that we need to be bringing into our business? And ooh, there might be a special on that coming up. So keep your eyes peeled and ears peeled, but there's different, both sides of this conversation from both viewpoints of what happens. Like if we're going to sit here and say, well, sales just don't happen, and there's somebody out there looking for what one of us has, and we're just not sorry, sales don't happen. No, I'm not making a sale. It's like,
Well,
and
that's
somebody's like,
certainly
"Wait a minute."
dictatorial.
I
That is certainly dictatorial. In thinking about this topic, I looked online to see if anything was really written about it, if people complained and had solutions. And one of the loveliest articles I came across was in a business magazine. I think it was Inc. And it suggested that people think about taking lessons from the holidays and capturing the spirit of the holidays, and not only use it in their lives, but to use it in their business. And the three things that they highlighted, and I thought it was really quite lovely and something I'd never thought about before, was celebrate the power of community. Remember that anything is possible, and forge your own path, which comes back to really believing in yourself, which we've talked about on this podcast before, listening to yourself and blazing your own trail, or to thine own self be true, just like Shakespeare said, and not kowtowing or be so dominated by the views of others, or their oftentimes unrealistic expectations of you, wanting you to be something that you're not. You may have a better way to grow your business that runs counter to what they're telling you. And if you don't go for it, you never know. But if you do, it really may work and do a lot of good to moving your business forward. And what better way to end the year?
Well, and I'm going to interject a little bit of the mindset work that I've been doing is say, listen to your intuition. Ask your
Yes.
intuition what you need to be doing for your business, for your personal life, stop and again, you're coming into a really overwhelming time of the year when you
Yes.
think of all the stimulus and everything. Take some time, some quiet time and sit and listen and get some lessons from yourself, instead of everything that's coming in saying you need to do this, you need to do that. But I challenge our listeners to take a moment to really think about the next 2 months coming up and what do they want for their business, and to make plans, to get organized, to make it, a great end of the year and a great beginning of a new year. Because you also have to be thinking about that. If things are gonna slow down, okay, how are you gonna speed things up in the new year? So,
That's really a lovely bit of advice. And I love that you challenged our listeners. And again, we would so love it if you like the episode, share it, send us your comments and a recount of your own experiences and your own views on the holidays.
Soapbox Wisdom is hosted by brand messaging and storytelling consultant Barbara Menino and business and mindset coach Christine Rothdeutsch. You can find them online at barbaramenino.com and christinerothdeutsch